What is your interest in Machiavelli? Why did that come up for you?
I've been looking at important literature that I think I should be aware of at my age. I think it's important to understand these early writers like Dostoevsky and Machiavelli, and
could I ask, because I'm curious, what do you think is important about them for this age? What appeals to you about those writers?
Well, I think they capture reality, and they capture something that most people aren't capturing as much of anymore. I feel like we're getting lost in the realm of reality, talking about reality today. People aren't living in the reality as much. People who produce literature and information and content in general are kind of steering away from that, because we don't have to put so much emphasis on that anymore, because we have lesser concerns now, lesser of survivability, because anyone can survive now, whereas back then survivability was more difficult in some ways. It was more instinctual. So they capture human nature in a very profound way, because we haven't physically evolved that differently from 200 years ago to now. So there are a lot of truths I see that can be found in their literature that can be applied to human beings today.
Do you think that it's possible to be selective about what one thinks of as the truth?
Most definitely.
Like, for example, you could take Machiavelli, but you could take John Locke or Spinoza or Thomas Aquinas or Aristotle or some other thinker who had plans for Plato, for example, how to construct and maintain a state.
Right.
Maybe that these writers, at least Machiavelli, might appeal to one who has doubts that there is an ethical way to do these things, but a practical way is more real in a sense. So practical by meaning what sort of what's effective or what works, right? And I sort of understand that appeal, but that's just a select kind of reality, right? Not necessarily to say it's more real, but it's a kind of reality.
Well, to me, it feels a little bit more real than some other writers. Because when you look at Dostoevsky, which is something I wanted to ask you about,
okay.
when you look at his writing and how he captures human beings, it feels incredibly real.
Yeah.
I don't really come across any kind of entertainment movies or books from the recent times that capture human beings this honestly. Honesty that really resonates with the soul when you really see the typical Russian dark depictions of reality, but at the same time very true. And there's something very compelling about that. And I wanted to ask, do you think that Dostoevsky accurately depicts human beings in his literature?
I think what he's very good at capturing something real about internal experience or psychological experience that we go through, right? But what is interesting about that, or why it's real, is that it is so complex, which our lives really are. They're really quite complex. We have conflicting intentions and desires and ideas, and we try to live with them, try to put them together in some kind of coherent picture of life that we can live. And you can see that in Crime and Punishment, in the character of Raskolnikov, who gets influenced by these ideas, right, and decides that maybe it's okay to just see what it's like to kill somebody, and on the idea that morality is just sort of a facade or something, it's not real. We're talking about what is reality. Morality is not real. After all, and it's true, you look around and where do you find, instances of goodness or justice? There's nothing real about them. There's only tables and chairs and mountains and planets and molecules. Right?
Right.
Where is the good? Right? We just make it up, to suit ourselves, you might say. Raskolnikov he's on this sort of philosophical project to see, what it's like to be a Nietzschean, of super or above human kind of moral creature, or one who's amoral, really, I don't think it works out very well for him. And Dostoevsky was just a master at portraying this what this character was thinking about as he went through these things. We can imagine ourselves going through a similar kind of process, and he was, dealing with the same questions that a lot of people still are dealing with now. It's like, well, what is the good? What makes something good? Does God exist? And how do our doubts about what is real fit in with, say, a world in which we think there's a benevolent being guiding all things, right?
Right. I also think it's very powerful when you make your main character evil.
Yeah.
Because it's very boring every time I put on a movie and the main character is this perfect hero with no flaws.
Yeah.
It makes me want to throw the remote control of the TV, because this is unrealistic, because we all have flaws, even the best of us. Right. And there's something to admire in that. And this is an extreme case in Crime and Punishment in that particular book. But,
Yeah, the best characters are those that are, unpredictable, they're complex, they have conflicting motives, because that's reality, right? That's what we all go through. And maybe what's common is we all try to give some shape to our life, as conflicting as it is and as ever-changing as situations are. I think we always endeavor to make sense of it. I mean, Raskolnikov was trying to make sense of his life and his ideas, and we can't ever escape this human complexity.